Today we're looking at designing your block print. The first thing you're going to want to do is to put your name at the top of your paper, your class code on there, and the teacher approved is for me to check it later. I want you first to think about your background idea. What types of things do you want in the background? And I think I want to do some mountains in my background. So I'm going to add a few of those on there. And then what do I want in the middle ground or the mid-ground area? So in front of the mountains, I think maybe I'm going to do a basic water scene, kind of like this, right? And then what do I want in front of that water? I think I want another water a little bit wider. And I want I'm gonna use the bubble wrap to make some fun textures in there, since we're going to be using our jelly plates for this part. And on this one, I think I'm going to use the striped texture plate on it. And I know on the mountains, I have some texture plates that kind of look like rocks. So I'm gonna do some boulders in my mountains like that. And then for the foam block print that I have on my water, let's see, I think I want to do a big wave. And we're going to practice drawing waves a little bit in class, so you'll have a better idea of how to draw that wave when you get to it, or you might want to draw a boat in there as well. That part's going to be completely up to you. You might want to add a ship down in your waves. You'll have lots of opportunities on there for carving those boats in to the foam plates. Then, what do you think it's going to look like all together? Well, I have to start. This time I built from the background forward. This time I have to build this way and then back. So if I have my boat in there, that's going to be on here first. Get all those little details that I might want to carve into it. Might even carve some wood planks in there. Then I'm going to have my big waves in the background where it's stormy, which means these will all be the same color on my print. And then I had my water that was a little further apart, right? And it had the bubble wrap dots. And this will be a different color because it's a different layer. We're gonna have lots of colors you can use in here. And then behind that, I had my waves that were even closer together. And they're gonna have some stripes in there, right? And then far away, I had my mountains. And they had that texture rubbing plate that was going to have the boulders in it. You can see this makes this pretty busy, but it's going to make a big difference when you add the color to it. Let's see how that looks. Jelly prints are a lot of fun. You can do lots of different things with them, and we're going to demo a few of those today before we get started on our final print. If you have brand new ones, you'll need to pull off that protective plate on top. So I'm going to start working with my jelly plate. The first thing I want to do is my background way back here that has that beautiful gradient in it. So I'm going to start by just painting some tempera paint red on there, since that's the main color. I'm going to rinse out my brush really well, and whenever you do this, you want to make sure you're drying your brush off. I'm going to pick up some of my yellow, because I had yellow on the bottom part, and I'm going to work that up into the red. If it gets too dark, I can wash the red out of my brush again and add more yellow into here. Kind of like that. And I can leave my sky this nice smooth color. I'm going to take my background print, that's going to be the one furthest away, line it up with the edge. Put it down and gently smooth it out. Might get a little bit of paint on you, that's okay. You want to lift it up, and it gives you that really pretty color for your faraway background part of your print. Put that over off to the side to dry, and you can use a baby wipe, or you can use one of our micro towels. Wipe the paint off, And then you're going to let somebody else at your table work on their print. When it comes back around to you again, you can start working on the next layer. So everybody will do their background farthest away first. And we're going to look at our middle ground. And in some of my middle ground background, I had the mountains. So when I do the mountains on here, I had those a nice purple. I don't have a purple in my palette, so how will I make purple today? Yep, it's going to be that blue and red. And my mountains, I'm just going to sort of go like this. They don't have to be mountain shape yet. And I'll tell you why in a few minutes. We just want to do the mountainy look. So I want to get the colors in there. I'm going to do my red first. I'm going to go back and grab some blue. Add my blue in, and you can see as I keep swishing it back and forth, it's turning purple. If I add a little bit of white, you can see that purple even lighter in there. And it's up to you how much white you might want to add, if you want a lighter purple versus a darker purple, right? Now I get this nice and smooth, okay, kind of like that. Then I was going to use that rock shape. So I'm going to take my rock texture plate here, and I want to put the bumpy side on here. Because what I want to do is actually want to pick up some of that paint that was on there, like that. See how it leaves all these little bumpy marks now? Now I want to take my paper and line it up for my next layer, my middle ground layer. I don't want to slide it around. I just want to smooth it on top of that paint so that when it picks it back up off the Gelli plate, look at that. Now it has that mountain boulder look to it. I'm going to set that off to the side and let it dry. And then the next layer that I had in my worksheet was some of the water that's up here near my print. Again, everybody on your table team will go around and get a turn before you work on that last layer. I'll wipe it off again, blot it dry, and it looks like there's still paint on it. Most of it's just underneath on the bottom side of the Gelli plate. Pat that dry, rinse out my brush really well, and now I want to do those waves, and I had those in a nice blue color, right? And I can paint that all over here. Now if you have bubble wrap, which we should have in class by the time we do this, you'll be able to lay the bubble wrap on here similar to how we just did the texture plate, and it'll leave lots of little bubbles in there. There are some alternatives as to what you can do, and I'm going to add different colors in here. I don't want it all white and all light and all dark. Kind of like that. It looks a little bit more realistic. Now what I can do is I can get one of my paint squeegees and I can run that through and make some neat waves. So I'm going to start on the side and push down at an angle and gently make some waves on there. See that wave texture? And then if it gets too gummed up, I can wipe it off. Go back and even do it again to retexture it, kind of like that. Now I'm going to take my last layering paper and put it on there. I don't want to move it around. I just want to drop it straight on there and gently push down. So when I peel it up, can you see how I smushed it sideways and it hit all of my waves? I'm going to have to try that again. There's still enough paint on here, so I'm going to go through and make those waves again, and then I'm going to get a new piece of paper and try that again. Sometimes if you add too much paint, that's what happens, or if you let it wiggle. So I just have to drop it on, tap, 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 tap. Now that we have a thinner layer of paint on here, I think it will work out better. I think what happened before too, not only did I wiggle it a little when I dropped it, then it squished all the extra paint that was on there. So sometimes it's nice to have a little less paint. There we go. And now I have my nice wave pattern. So you should have 3 pieces of paper, your backgrounds, your middle grounds, and then we're going to have our foregrounds with our block print that's going to go on top of these after they finish drying next week. We'll see what that looks like then.